All right, Algebra 1, we are on day 4 of solving equations. And if you look at the top here, you can see that what we're doing today is combining the distributive property with having variables on both sides, and then also throwing in there combining like terms. So we are going to basically be doing everything here in these notes today. So let's first of all review what we did in 3.1c, which just added in the variables on both sides. So first thing that we will need to do is look for parentheses. That tells us that we have a distributive property. So we don't have that here. There's no parentheses, so we go right into combining like terms. On the left side here, you can see my like terms are 5x and negative 9x. So use your calculator, add the numbers out front. 5 minus 9 is a negative 4. And then the negative 2 will come down. 10 minus 8x will come down. There's nothing to combine there. So that's what your first step should look like. 5 minus 9 is negative 4x. Bring down the minus 2 equals 10 minus 8x. The next step that we do is move a variable. It doesn't matter which one you move. I suggest that you move the variable to the left, but it doesn't matter. You can move whichever one you want. So if I'm trying to move this minus 8x or the negative 8x, I got to do the opposite, and I have to add. So I'm going to add 8x to both sides. All right, negative 8x plus 8x is 0. They cancel out. And over here, negative 4x plus 8x gives me a positive 4x. Bring down the minus 2 equals 10. Now we're just left with a two-step equation. So next we're going to move this 2. It's a minus 2, so we will do the opposite and add 2. Again, to both sides, add 2 to both sides, so plus 2, plus 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. They cancel out. And we're left with, bring down the 4x equals 10 plus 2 is 12. Last step, since this is 4 times x, we are going to do the opposite and divide by 4. So 12 divided by 4 gives you a final answer of 3. Okay, 4 divided by 4 is 1, so there's a 1x here. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, so let's keep going here. Like I said, we will have everything here. So we're going to have distributive property, sometimes on both sides, sometimes just on one side. We're going to have combining like terms. We're going to show the canceling of one variable by moving it from one side to the other. Like I said, I move from right to left. Undo addition or subtraction, meaning getting rid of the number with no variable. And then undo the multiplication or division, which means multiply or divide by the number in front of the x. So I'm going to do these each in their own step. So these problems will have 5 steps at most. They could have fewer. But I'm going to do distributive property in the first step, combining like terms in the second step, canceling the variable in the third step, moving the number with no variable in the fourth step, and then my final step will be to multiply or divide by the number in front of our variable. So let's go ahead and get started on these examples here. Now, on the left-hand side, 5x minus 3, there are no parentheses, so I can just bring this down. So I'm just going to bring down my 5x minus 3. Over here, distribute this through. 2 times x is 2x, plus 2 times 3 is 6. Now, second step would be to combine like terms. We don't have any like terms over here, no like terms over here, so we will move on to the next step, which is to move the variable. Now I'm going to move the variable always from the right to the left, so I'm going to move that to x. 2x minus 2x is 0, and if you remember from the notes the other day, I had mentioned that we're not trying to separate the 2 from the x, so we don't want to divide. We want to move the entire term, so that's why I'm subtracting 2x instead of dividing by 2. Which you will see later on in the last step. So 5x minus 2x is 3x. Bring down the minus 3 equals, over here we have 6. Now we will move the number with no variable. So that means adding 3. We're adding because this is a minus 3. And we want to do the opposite. So negative 3 plus 3 is 0. They cancel out. Left-hand side, 3x equals right-hand side, 6 plus 3 is 9. The last step is to get rid of the number in front of the variable. Now is where we will separate it from the x. This is being multiplied, so we will do the opposite and divide. Divide both sides by 3. X 9 divided by 3 is 3. So final answer there, x equals 3. Next, now you can see that we do have the distributive property on both sides. So let's start this one off here. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. Equals, over here, negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times 7 gives me a negative 35. All right, let's keep going here. Now we have, again, no like terms over here, no like terms over here. So I am going to move my variable. If you have variables on both sides, let's move it over. So I'm going to move this whole term, the negative 5x, over by adding. I'm going to make it a positive 5x. Okay, because that'll make this 0 and they will cancel. Okay, so that's our goal there, is to cancel them out. But again, we have to do the same thing to both sides. So we will add the 5x over to that side. All right, next. Well, let's finish this. 8 plus 5 gives me 13x minus 48 equals, don't forget that the sign in front of the number is attached to it, so that negative 35 needs to come with it when we bring it down. So minus 38, or I'm sorry, minus 35. Now we have to move the 48 over. This is a negative 48, so we're going to take the negative 48, and to move it, we will add 48 to both sides. So we're going to add 48 to both sides. Negative 48 plus 48 is 0. They cancel. Bring down the 13x equals, get out your calculator, negative 35 plus 48 is going to give you a positive 13. And the last step, we want to get rid of the 13. We want to separate it from the variable, so they're being multiplied, so we do the opposite and divide. So divide both sides by 13. And we get our final answer of x equals 1. All right, C, I already have this one done, so let me just walk you through it. First step, I see some distributive property over here because there's parentheses, so 8 times 2x is 16x, and 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. Now, some people will say, well, can't I just combine these in this step? And yeah, you can do that if you want to, but like I said, I'm just doing one thing at a time here. So 8 times 2x is 16x, 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. Bring down the plus 50, equals 5x minus 4 plus 10x. Like I said, I'm just doing one thing at a time here. So my next step is to combine like terms. So if I'm looking on the left-hand side here, what are my like terms? Well, negative 56 and plus 50. Those are the like terms over there. And on the right-hand side, what are the like terms over here? 5x and 10x. Those are my like terms on the right-hand side. So what do we get here? 16, negative 56 plus 50 gives me 16x minus 6. 5x plus 10x is 15x, and then minus 4. Now I will go through my other steps, which means first up I'm moving the variable over. So this is a positive 15. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. 15 minus 15 is 0. Those are gone. 16 minus 15 is 1x, or we usually just write x, minus 6 equals, bring down the minus 4. Now I need to move the number with no variable, so I need to move this negative 6. It's a minus or a negative, so the opposite of that is addition. So I add 6 to both sides. Okay, negative 6 plus 6 is 0. These cancel out. So my left-hand side is just x. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2, so x equals 2. And again, we didn't have a number out front here that we had to divide because it was already a 1x. You know, there's a 1 right here. We don't have to divide by 1 because 2 divided by 1 is still 2. So we are finished at that point. All right, example D. You can see here that we have parentheses on both sides. So we're going to have to do the distributive property on both sides here. So take the 3 and multiply it through. So 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times x will be 3x. So plus 3x. Let's bring down the rest of this. So plus 9x equals 9 plus 4 times 3 again gives us 12. And 4 times negative x is negative 4x. Okay, now our next step, after we do the distributive property, we need to Combine like terms. So left-hand side, what are my like terms over here? What are the like terms? Well, I have a 3x and I have a 9x. Okay, so 3x plus 9x is 12x. Bring down the positive 12 out front here. That's a positive 12, so plus 12 equals, over on the right-hand side, what are my like terms? Well, I have a 9 and I have a plus 12. All right, so I'm going to add those together, but I'm going to bring the negative 4x out front. So minus 4x, 9 plus 12 gives me 21. Now, once I do my distributive property and I combine like terms, now I need to move variables around. So I'm going to start with this negative 4x and add that over to the other side. So add 4x over here. Okay, negative 4x plus 4x is 0. Those are gone. Over here, 12x plus 4x gives me 16x. Bring down the plus 12 equals 21. Next, we need to move the number with no variable, so I'm going to subtract the 12. It's a positive 12. I've got to do the opposite and subtract 12. All right, 21 minus 12, again, break out your calculator. 21 minus 12 will give you 9. So 12 minus 12 is 0. So 16x equals 9. Oops, there we go. Okay, last step, we need to get the x by itself, so we're going to divide by 16. Divide both sides by 16. 16 divided by 16 is 1x, so just x. And then 9 divided by 16 gives us 0.5625, which again, we ended up with a decimal there, but that's okay because decimals are acceptable answers. So again, yeah, I just wanted to add another problem in here where we have a decimal for the answer, right? So yeah, I just wanted to, add that in there because sometimes when we get answers as decimals, a lot of times we feel like we did something wrong or we made a mistake or something like that. But if you look through this, we have no mistakes in here. So this is the exact answer, okay, 0.5625, but we could also round this and just say 0.6, which a lot of times you'll see they'll have you round to either 2 decimal places or 1 decimal place like this. That'll all depend on what the answer is, because these will be multiple choice questions on your keystones. All right, last one. I have this one done for you, so let's just talk through it. So first up, we're going to take the negative 3 and multiply it through. So negative 3 times y is negative 3y, and negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Now over here, when we do this, this is just like a negative 1. So we're going to have negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, and negative 1 times negative 6 will be a positive 6. So you can see here, here's the work, or that step right now. Negative 3 times y is negative 3y. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. I brought down my negative 7y. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. And negative 1 times negative 6 is positive 6. So now I will combine my like terms. So there are no like terms over here to combine. On this side, I have a negative 7y, and I have a positive 6y. So add those together, and you get negative y. So I brought down the left-hand side, negative 3y plus 9, equals, over here, negative 7y plus 6y is negative y, and then I brought down my minus 1. Now I need to move this negative y over. It's a negative, so I have to do the opposite and add. Negative y plus y is 0. They cancel. Negative 3y plus y is negative 2y. I brought down my plus 9. I brought down the minus 1. Next, I need to move this 9 over. So it's a positive 9. I need to do the opposite and subtract 9. So subtract 9 from both sides. 9 minus 9 is 0. These are gone. So left-hand side is negative 2y, and the right-hand side, negative 1 minus 9 is negative 10. These are being multiplied, so my last step to separate the negative 2 from the y is to divide by negative 2. So divide both sides by negative 2, and we get a final answer of 5. So y equals 5. Okay, so again, this is your last day of adding a new step. We still have another 2 concepts that we're going to add here at the end. But as far as the different steps for solving equations, that's everything right there. Okay, that is the entire solving equations, multi-step equations process. Distributive property, combine like terms, move one of the variables if you have variables on both sides. If you only have a variable on one side, you don't even have that step. Then we move the number that doesn't have a variable, and we divide by or multiply by the number in front of the variable. So that is the entire process. So again, like I said, if you have any questions, send me an email or a private comment. Make sure you're checking your answers on these, and if you have questions, just let me know.